Hello and welcome to this very quick tutorial which will hopefully get you up and running with your very first open source contributions in under 5 minutes. So we're going to aim by the end of this tutorial to have an open pull request on somebody else's repository so you can start contributing to open source. To do this, I've set up a dummy account that's aside from my usual account, so I can show you how the two accounts communicate with each other. But the quickest way to get started is to just show you those accounts. So the first one I have here is the one that's got the repo that I would like to contribute to. We can see over here it's a repo called fork this junk. Now when I go to this repo, when you go to any GitHub repo that you would like to contribute to, the first thing you have to do is you go to their main page and then you find this little fork button over here and you click fork. So that's our first step, and it will ask us if you have several accounts that you can actually push commits to. It will ask you which one you want to do. If you've only got the one account that you have access to, then it will just do that automatically for you. So I'm just choosing the account I wish to fork it to. So now we can see that I have the fork of fork this junk in my actual account, and it tells us underneath very explicitly that this was forked from Jackson Bates test fork this junk. So here we have my copy and underneath we have the original. Now I'm going to do my initial changes on my copy, and I'm going to ask the original to pull those changes in. So that's why they call it a pull request, it's pulling in the changes. So with this repo that I have with my copy, we're going to find this little guy over here, the clone or download button, and we're going to click this little clipboard symbol that we have, and that's going to copy the URL that contains the origin of our Git repo. It's going to copy that to the clipboard for us. Once we have that in our clipboard, we can go to our terminal. Now, if you're a Windows user, you're probably going to want to use Git Bash. If you're using Linux or Mac, then whichever terminal you are used to using or that you have automatically installed will probably be sufficient for what you want to do. You might want to look around and find other terminals if you prefer a fancy one. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is, because I actually have a copy of this repo already, I just need to very quickly get rid of this. So we'll just say, so I'm just removing that. So what I'm going to do now is, assuming I've never downloaded it before, we're going to first use the command git clone. So we say git clone, and then I'm going to paste that link that I had copied with a space because I forgot one. And we press enter and it will tell us cloning into fork this junk. Now that it's cloned, I need to move into that directory from the terminal, and I can do that using the cd command. So I write cd and then the name of the repo that we just downloaded, fork this junk. And you can see now the terminal tells us we're in the fork this junk repo, and it also tells us that we're on the Git master branch. Now normally we'd be working on a different branch than master because we want to try and keep our changes to code very separate from the master branch. So if there are any changes, we've got that master copy nice and clean that we can work from again. But in this instance, because it's a very quick tutorial, we're going to go with the master branch. So the next thing we need to do is we need to open up the files that we would like to change in our code editor. Now, because the code editor I'm using is integrated quite well with my computer, I can just type code dot and that will open up my code editor in to that particular location. If yours doesn't do that, don't worry, you can just navigate to your normal editor and open up the files as you normally would. Now the one I would like to contribute to, or the one I'd like to make changes to, is this readme.md, which is just a very simple markdown file. So I'm going to add just a random message here, commit some new text will do. So that's the change I would like to make to this code. It's not a very big change, obviously. We're going to save that. And once it's saved, I can go back over to my terminal and I can check the status now of my Git repo. So if I say git status, and it tells us here, as you can see, that we have a modified file in our Git repo. That means in our working directory, there are some changes that have been made. Now the first stage that we have to go through is to take it from its working directory to the staging directory. So we do that by saying git add readme. And then if I do git status again, you'll see that something has changed. So now we have a green light basically on this, which is basically saying this is ready to commit. It's in the right area, we can push that commit and everything will go well. So committing something means we lock that in our source version control. It means that those changes will be remembered, and whatever happens, no matter what changes are made to our repo down the track, we can get back to this point if we need to, if this is where it was the last place it worked. So it's a very important concept in source version control. So from here we can say git commit, and I have -m, which is an M flag, and what the M flag does is allow us to write a message that goes with that git commit. So I'm just going to say adds to readme. Just nice and descriptive and nice and short, so the GitHub repo owner or maintainer knows what to expect when they open up my commit. So that's everything is saved nice and securely on my local repository now. But what I need to do is push those back up to the GitHub repository that I just pulled them down from. So we're going to say git push, and then origin is the place where the code that I've pulled down originated from. So this is my forked copy of the repo. And we're also going to specify which branch that goes on to. So here we have git push origin master. So git push up my code to the place it originated from on the master branch, git push origin master. And that'll just take a few seconds. Hey, it worked. So now we'll go to GitHub and we will see if that change was sufficiently made. So now back in this repo, if I refresh the page, we can see that adds to readme is the latest commit, and that was done 1 minute ago. So that's the one that we just committed. Now what we'd like to do is, we're happy with the changes we've made to the code. We think we've introduced something valuable to this open source community. What we're going to do now is go back to the original repo and ask them to pull in our changes. So you can do that very easily just by clicking on the forked from Jackson Bait test, fork this junk, and that will take us back to the original repo. From that original repo, we're going to click on the pull requests tab, and we can see the existing pull requests that have been made. These are some ones that I was doing earlier while I was playing around. And we're going to click this green button over here for a new pull request. Now, because we are not making a pull request on our own repository, what we have to do is compare across the forks. So I have my fork, and then we have the original repo as well. So we click this link here for compare across forks. And we can see here the base fork is the one that we want to pull the code into, or the one that we'd asked them to consider to pull our code into. The head fork is the one where we made the changes. Now that's going to be your own actual Git repo. And we would normally specify which branch that we're asking to pull in as well, because as I said before, you'd normally work on a separate branch. But for this example, we haven't done that. We've just gone with master, so we can leave that as it is. Now we get a nice, good, encouraging message here from GitHub saying that this is able to be merged, and it's a very simple process. So we're just going to create the pull request. And we can just leave the open source maintainer a message so they know what to expect, and we hit create pull request, and that's everything that we need to do. We've now created a new pull request. So here we can see that right now, pull request number 3 opened just now by me, and that's everything we need to do. What will happen at this stage will be most likely the open source maintainer or the project maintainer will review your changes, and they'll communicate with you as to whether there are any other steps you need to take. Quite often there might be some formatting issues, or it might not quite have fixed the bug that you felt it fixed. So the open source maintainer will communicate with you and try and get you to fix your code to make it the best contribution it can be. But don't be put off by that, don't be scared by that. Everybody is working together to make the internet a better place. So I hope you found this very helpful. If there's any issues that arise from this and you'd like to leave me some comments below, then I'm happy to answer those as best I can. If you came to this video because you were reading the contributing markdown file in my own GitHub repository of an open source project that I've recently made quite easy for other people to contribute to, then you are of course welcome to continue trying to contribute to that particular project as well. And if you have no idea what that means, then you can check out the links below, and you might find that it's a project that you would like to be involved in as well, and you are more than welcome now that you have the skills to do this. So I look forward to seeing you around on GitHub, and thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.